Moving on, we got Stellar Blade, and see, this is one I've been kind of anticipating for a while. Sort of the way I anticipated Lies of P when I heard that game was coming out, and the concept and the fact that it was going to be Bloodborne-esque. That really that reeled me in, and that ended up being like probably one of my favorite games, especially as a Souls-like because a lot of those don't really land on the quality that FromSoft titles do. But yeah, Stellar Blade. It's made by a Korean studio. Can't remember the name off the top of my head, but we can punch that in. Have you experienced anything with this? Have you watched like trailers or any of the promo stuff for this game?
So I have the developer is Shift Up, by the way, who
Yeah,
I
Shift Up. Yeah.
believe they had mostly made a lot like smaller scale games. I don't know if they were necessarily mobile games, but I know this is the first thing they've made that's kind of in the AAA space. As I recall, I think Sony might have kind of seen what they were working on, were impressed by what they were accomplishing, and then threw more money at them to, make it bigger and better. Which, from what I've seen, seems like it's paying off fairly well. So, full disclosure, I don't have a PS5 yet. Lately I've been much more of a PC gamer. So, it's been on my radar. I haven't been following it super closely. I like a lot of what I see. Kind of what I've surmised from looking at it is that it's just a really kind of well done, highly polished character action game that kind of falls somewhere between the Devil May Cry super fast paced combo heavy style and something more in the Souls like vein where you have to be a little more methodical and it's more based on kind of slowing down and doing pattern recognition with the enemies and kind of reacting to them more so than just big super hyper aggressive like you do in a Devil May Cry or Bayonetta or whatever. But yeah, I've casually watched the trailers. I'm interested in it. I'll probably play it eventually, but not super familiar with it, I guess.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I played the demo and it's really polished. It feels pretty tight. The presentation overall is really nice. It definitely looks like a AAA game. Especially when you have I don't know, I don't want to start bashing, but like games like Rise of Ronin that just like don't quite look like we're moving forward in the gen
Right.
in the graphics that is. But yeah, it plays I thought it was going to be kind of like a Devil May Cry Bayonetta type game, and it feels like a mix of like Sekiro and kind of Lies of P. Like it's got this you've got like a light attack, heavy attack, sort of quick combos, but then you have like evasion techniques and like certain elements that activate based on the enemy's attack. So in Sekiro, you have like the Makiri counter, and then you like have to jump in certain situations.
Right.
And this game kind of has that where it's like if you dodge the right time, you'll flash behind the enemy, and then you have like three or four special abilities that are like attacks that will stagger. So it's really built on that like Lies of P, Sekiro, even a little bit of Elden Ring stagger system where you're like kind of chipping away health, but really you're trying to get them knocked down
Right.
so you can do like a special attack. But the presentation of all of it really does make it look like a flashy, um, style fighting game like Devil May Cry.
Right. Sounds like it's kind of that, but maybe a little more, I guess, tactical.
Yeah, it sort of is. It's a lot slower than you'd expect it to be when you get your hands on it. And I've heard people complain about the speed, but what I'm thinking is as this game goes on, depending on how long it is, you're gonna get a lot of upgrades. It seems like there's a lot of skill tree stuff and building on what you already have to just make it faster and stronger.
Right. So does it have that kind of, I'll call it the standard AAA skill tree
It does. It's got like three skill trees, I think. It's like certain sets. So yeah, I guess Ghost of Tsushima also had that
Yeah.
where it's like certain class of abilities and then you upgrade those depending on what you find important at that time.
Yeah, yeah. So how does the progression work? Do you just get straight XP from enemies, or do you gather like a currency that you used? Or
Yeah, it's XP and I'm not sure if you lose XP. I think you may just get like and I think this is a Sekiro thing too where you just lose like a chunk of your points instead of trying to recover them and do all that stuff.
right, where would you say it kind of falls in terms of the difficulty?
It's that's hard to say. I found it to be a little tricky. Mainly because I wanted to do Souls things. You start feeling that environment, and you want to like dodge away from everything and mash circle. A lot of people learn that when they first play Sekiro that it's not about that.
Right.
You do have time dodges, so it rewards you for not like just trying to like back away
Yeah.
and actually timing things well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would say it's probably going to be like around Metal Gear Rising level of difficulty.
If America's gone to shit, you're just another maggot crawling in the pile. And from the ashes, a new America will be born! Evolved, but unchanged!
I don't know if it'll have difficulty options. I don't think the demo had a section for that, so I could be misremembering, but yeah, that's what I recall at least.
Yeah, and I was just kind of curious. And generally, I mean, that all sounds cool to me. Like I'm absolutely on board with the slower pace. I tend to gravitate towards that anyway. You know, I could plow through, you know, a Devil May Cry or just whatever a fast paced type of game, but I much prefer the more kind of methodical approach. Even like a Sekiro or Bloodborne, where it's, you know, pretty fast paced and aggressive, but still, I would say a little more. I don't know how do I say it's a little more cerebral without sounding like a absolute intolerable douchebag.
It's all a mind fuck. Yeah, I'm
Right,
not.
we'll go with that. Yeah,
Well, I would say the maps are built kind of like Bloodborne or Lies of P, where it's a little bit more linear. Probably going to be a lot less interconnected than Bloodborne, actually.
yeah,
So it's probably going to be just stage by stage, is what I'm guessing.
right.
And it's also pretty like it's I've got a story that's going to carry it. It's pretty clear from the beginning. Um, And I was gonna say, like, you know what, they don't really like sexualize her that much at the beginning, but then she bursts out of that pod. She's like all shiny and covered in liquid and shit.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, not,
So
not that I
yeah, no, and
care.
then she like materializes her clothes. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe consider who you play this game around.
Yeah, and that's been kind of my, uh, uh, I guess my main exposure to it is seeing these internet weirdos on Twitter that have decided that this game is their Lord and Savior that's going to destroy the corrupt woke games journalism industry because it dares to have a sexy anime girl as the lead character, which is a just revolutionary idea, never been
Yeah,
done.
yeah. It's actually wild to think that, especially when Final Fantasy VII Rebirth just came out,
Right.
and you realize that Tifa has been a character this long and has been, sexualized since her inception. So
Right.
even when she had little block pixels, or take Tomb Raider for example.
Oh yeah, yeah. Which I've seen Twitter weirdos angry at the new Tomb Raider design as well. That's been kind of floating around. Uh,
The
because
the remaster, or like
no,
reboot series they did.
neither. I guess they're working on a new series, and there's a new character design. It's just like a key art for a new character design that's been floating around, and
Uh,
some very normal and healthy and well-adjusted individuals on Twitter or X or whatever you're calling the dumpster fire these days are angry because Lara has, I guess, her jawline is ever so slightly too manly for them, which is again
yeah,
more evidence of the woke establishment trying to
that's
make that. Anyway, yeah,
that's the sign. That's how you know.
yeah,
You know that Sweet Baby Ink is involved when you see the jawline.
exactly.